but nice to be here. I'm a 25-year resident of San Francisco and actually never been to this place, so it's nice to be here. I'd like for us to travel maybe back in time to the year 1859. In 1859, there was a person, Edwin Drake, who drilled, using a new technology called the drive pipe, the first commercial oil well in the United States. And so that really, created the oil and gas boom that we've seen for now 150 years. And the reason I'm asking you is to think about what is the technology today that's going to drive now the renewables boom, right? In order to avoid this climate catastrophe that we may be having. So if you think about that, we're actually in the same situation as Drake. We actually have to find Earth resources. We're not going to build any of this on water and wind and solar only. We're going to use and be using vast amounts of metals. Metals such as copper, nickel, cobalt, and lithium, of course, and also rare earth elements. So what we know is actually that most of the technology to build renewable energy is already known. In fact, if you read the reports by Mark Jacobson, my colleague at Stanford, who works on, has written a book called No Miracles Needed. 95% of all the technology is here. What is not here is a technology to discover these metals in the time framework that we need them. And that's a big challenge. So that was until last year. This year, that changed. So KoBold Metals is a company that I advise and also collaborate with as Stanford Mineral-X. And KoBold Metals announced in the Financial Times that they have discovered one of the largest ever copper deposits in the world in Zambia, which one of the largest ever grade. And that was done in a time framework which was extremely very fast. It was done, KoBold didn't exist 6 years ago. Started drilling a year ago, and now this announcement was made. So what was different that KoBold did versus all of the mining companies together? And the difference lies in the use of artificial intelligence. This was the first ever deposit discovered using artificial intelligence. So what is this artificial intelligence? And to think about artificial intelligence, we also have maybe to think about how do we think about problems like exploration? How do we think about problems of creating renewable energy? And so if it comes down to exploration, what's really very important is to think about how we reduce uncertainty, right? We have to start at the planet scale. Together with KoBold, we make basically a Google map of the Earth's crust at the planet scale using data, but then we have to narrow that down all the way until you start drilling. And drilling is the most expensive, the most time-consuming exercise in all this endeavor. So we need something where the software meets the hardware. And so to do that, we have used all kinds of artificial intelligence. It's pervasive to the company. What we have done is vertically integrating all of these disparate fields of geology, geophysics, data science, AI into one single entity, using generative AI to build very fast geological models in 3D. It's much harder than text. Right? Using deep learning to do a very fast physics computation. And maybe even more important is to use what we call intelligent agent technology. That brings all of these other AI, Gen AI and deep learning together and makes faster, better decisions about what kind of exploration, where, what data should we acquire, etc. And so that was done in this area in Zambia called Mingomba, where the AI decided for humans, together with human intelligence, to drill in this area and find this vast copper deposit. So that's an important find. Basically also because the mining industry is not a popular industry. It's also not an industry that has very good investment. And so what KoBold also has done, I think, is to bring investors that usually don't fund the mining industry, like Bezos and Gates and Andreessen Horowitz, made a sort of a big pot of money and was able to do that, what other companies cannot do. Right? For example, KoBold spent more on exploration than Rio Tinto. So the other aspect of all of this is to think about the sustainability and the human aspect, right? It is not just a technological problem. So if KoBold is indeed going to become a company that can do this, or let's say a couple of times in the next 5 years, it may well become a household name, just like Exxon, but without the CO2 emissions. So the human aspect is also very important, and that's what I want to finish here, and talking a bit about our Mineral-X program, because artificial intelligence is always thought of as a Western contribution. So I travel around the world now, travel to Indonesia, very important country, to Mongolia, I was there last week. I traveled to Zambia, the DRC, all these countries where I go teach AI to students there, because they should be empowered themselves to be using the AI that KoBold developed and other companies developed in order to use it for their own countries. And I can tell you the enthusiasm for these students who sometimes live in a very simple house, sometimes without electricity, is incredible, and it's something that certainly keeps me moving. Anyway, there's much more to tell about this, and I'm happy to talk to you afterwards. Or we also have a symposium coming up, Mineral-X Symposium, where we have various members of government, industry, as well as investors will be talking there. So hopefully we can see you there. Thanks for having me, Peter.